Hey friends, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are going to do our last video for fall inspiration with my Cricut, and I am going to tiptoe back into fall in a few weeks because I like to do certain crafts for Thanksgiving. So we'll have some more fall inspired crafts in a bit, but this will be it for a little bit. Be sure to check out the last few weekends of videos to get more inspiration if you missed out. But we're gonna move on to Halloween in the next week or two, and I have some cute ideas for that too. So let's start by doing a fun piece of decor. I found this at Hobby Lobby. It was $9.99, but I'm always shopping the sale, so I got that at 40% off. And what I want to do here is recently I've been trying to focus on temporary decor because I like the idea of being able to have a really nice piece but switch it out and change looks with it each year. So you have also been enjoying my temporary decor inspiration, so I'm going to show you another one that I thought of. I found this canvas. It's a 4x6 from Dollar Tree. What we're going to do is you can either do a reverse canvas with this, but I'm not going to for this particular craft because I have so much of that really pretty brown woven texture already, so I'm not going to utilize the texture of that wood frame. So we're just going to use it in the traditional sense. I also have some smart iron-on, and while I'm weeding this out, what I'm going to do is preheat my little Easy Press Mini. I'm gonna do about medium. I think that should work, but always monitor your own project and either lower the temp or time based on how your project is laying down. Okay, so again, this is a smart iron-on. You can use a regular iron-on. I just had the right color in this material. And instead of going for fall and happy fall and all of that, I saw this design. It's so cute. It says happy harvest. And I really liked that because we can also use this for Thanksgiving decor down the road as well. So I'm gonna go through and just grab all of my little middle pieces really quickly, set those off to the side. This is a fun design that has some little highlight accents to weed out as well. So I'm going to really delicately make sure I find all of those little elements too and take them right on out. We are still having 80-degree days. We had one 60-degree day and it was glorious. I took my son on a nice long walk and we loved it. However, that afternoon I realized I was not quite used to 60-degree weather, and I eventually had to pour myself some coffee around 3 o'clock because my body was just not warming up. Isn't that so funny? I always find it so interesting how once spring hits and we've been in cold weather, a 60-degree day feels like a heat wave and you're like wanting to put on short sleeves and shorts. But on the other side, when it's been summer and hot, that first 60-degree day can feel good but a little nippy. So I always think that's so funny, the perspective, right? But I also say all that to say we are so ready for fall weather. While it's been 80+ degrees outside, I've had pumpkin candles and fall decor going on indoors because it's almost the end of September. We're really ready to go. Okay, so something that is different about a iron-on or a heat vinyl is the transfer or the carrier sheet that we are weeding off of. It's sticky. So what that means is that some of your pieces might try to stick to it once you weed them out, like these little pieces. So you're just gonna wanna make sure once you are done, go ahead and just make sure you are looking everywhere to be sure you don't have any of these little tiny pieces remaining on your transfer tape or your transfer sheet, because you don't want to apply the heat and then have those go on your project. So I'm gonna make sure those are completely off of my workspace. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a little hand towel, mainly to build up the space behind. See, this is hollow. I wanna make that firm so that I can iron this down really well. So I'm gonna make sure that that looks good. And I'm using that towel like an ironing board. Okay, so let's do this. That looks good, maybe over just a little bit. And it's kind of a little swoopy look. So if you don't, I mean, it's kind of hard to get it looking like it's straight, but it's a little forgiving when it has a little bit more of a swooped look to it. So I'm just going to tack that down, and then I can pick it up a little bit more and then be able to do some focus press there. And again, I have mine on medium, and I'm just going to quickly move that press around, move my canvas around as well, just to get all those little spots. Okay, for the most part, that looks really good. There's one little spot on my H that I need to revisit, but I like the little press because it allows me to go ahead and just reheat certain areas instead of my entire project. But I'm just cooling down my iron-on just to draw out that heat before I attempt to remove the liner. And I just want to make sure I can see what areas are good to go and what need a little bit of help. And this is looking super good. So there's my design transferred right on over to my canvas. I see a couple spots where I have a little bit of lifting. And because we have this frame here, the spots are kind of near where that frame is laying. So I'm going to, or that frame is present. So I'm going to just put my liner right back over. You don't want to put your heat source right onto exposed vinyl. So I'm just going to place that right back over, add some heat right over those areas that are having a little bit of trouble. Turn this around and do the same to this side. And then what we're going to do is attach this to our little kind of wicker pumpkin. I love this. I think this is so cute. What I want to do is just prop it up in my kitchen and layer it with a couple pieces. Okay, let me go ahead and remove this once more. Those areas are just fine now. I love that. Isn't that pretty? And again, this was a navy. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it was a navy iron-on, which I really like. Okay, let's talk about temporary. What I'm going to do to make this temporary is I'm going to use these foam squares, and I'm going to apply them just around the perimeter of my canvas on that frame. And these are really nice and sticky. So they're sticky enough to get the job done, right, and have it last all season, but then they are also temporary. So after the season's done, I can also decide to remove this. Now, if you're loving this idea and thinking, I want this all the time, I want this to be permanent, use some hot glue. Just put hot glue around and then glue it right into your pumpkin or on top of your pumpkin. So what I'm gonna do is just come and grab all of these little liners. Again, my idea is for a temporary piece of decor so that I can just remove this at the end of the year. You can always add another canvas with another saying on it if you'd like, or I mean, sometimes we just change our mind, right? Something that we love one year is maybe after a few years needing a little revamp. And I'm just using my little weeding hook to help take these little liners off. Makes it really quick work. Okay, maybe not. Okay, there we go. I can turn this off as well. And let's get these little liners out of the way. Okay, so now I have my little canvas, super cute. And because I got the pumpkin at, gosh, maybe a little over $5, probably $6, plus I got the little canvas for $1.25. So this is probably a $7.50 piece of decor, which I think is super pretty. I love that. And again, that's on there. Look, I will pull this up just by the canvas. It is on there, but it can be removed as well. Super cute. Oh my goodness, that might be my favorite thing I made this fall. I love that. It was such a kind of a whim of an idea too, so love that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is my mama came over the other day and she brought with her this really cute cork mug. I love it. So fun. I was also showing my husband our little coffee bar area, and you know my husband says if you bring a coffee mug in, then you take one out. But I told him it does not apply to holiday drinkware. So fall drinkware that only comes out during the fall. I can buy as much as I want. Although we did go to Target today and a couple of my kids snitched on me when I put a coffee mug in the cart. But my hubby knows that I love my coffee in the morning with my seasonal mug, so he doesn't say a thing. Okay, I went with a more kind of, I don't know, khaki color, if you will, a nice tan vinyl. I love this color, especially in the fall. And this cute file says sweater weather, which I think is so cute. There's also a little heart in there, which I love. So there we go. Okay, now I'm going to go through again, just grab those little middle pieces. But I thought this would be really pretty on this mug, especially with that cork element on the bottom. So my mom got this at like a local grocery store. She thought it was so cute, and she said, you are definitely going to want to decorate this for fall season. Oh, I got the whole thing here. Hold on. I'm gonna do a little bit of surgery, and there we go. Put that right back on there. Oh, good job. All right, so there we are. Now I want to prep my mug and just clean it off. So I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol to just wipe the surface. Make sure there's no dust or, more importantly, oils from my hands. I like to wear lotion a lot, and if you have oil on the surface of your mug, either from just oily hands in general or a lotion, then it can prevent the vinyl from sticking down really well, which means it'll prevent it from lasting a long time. So I'm right-handed, and I like to see my design when I'm sipping my coffee. I actually just purchased a mug from Hobby Lobby that has the design on the other side only, and I get so sad because it's such a cute design, but I never get to enjoy it because I'm right-handed. So what you can do is, if you're making it for yourself, first determine if you're right or left-handed, then it'll help you decide what side to put your design on. But you can also, and something that I've done in the past a few times, is you can duplicate your design and put it on both sides. So either way works fine. Then I'm going to grab just a little piece of transfer tape, and this is kind of big, so let me trim this down just a little bit. Okay, place that right over my vinyl, and I'll use a scraper tool just to really press down so that the vinyl will meet that transfer tape. The next step is pulling that off of the cutting sheet. So now we'll pull it away, leaving our vinyl on the transfer tape, right? Then on our nice clean surface, we can just center this and lay it right on down. That is so cute. I love that. Okay, giving enough room to sip. Vinyl is not food safe, so you just don't want to have it so high that you are having it come into contact with your lip. So I give, and I guess it depends on the person, I give myself, you know, 1/2 inch to 1 inch of space to sip my coffee. Okay, there we go. Being careful just to make sure everything has laid down. Oh, that's cute. That's a really pretty color with that cork. So pretty. Okay, there is our next little idea, which is so fun. And as always, I will link my designs down below so you know where I purchased them. This is so cute, and it would look really cute on apparel as well. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do while I have this here is I'm going to decorate a candle. This is one thing that I love to do for any season. I love candles, they're so fun. Now, I will tell you, this one's from Walmart. It's one of my favorites. I love this one so much. I buy a few of them. I love it, but the little labels do not come off very easily, and I know there's so many tricks and hacks, but honestly, for the amount of time this lasts, I'm not going to waste my time with it. So what I'm going to do, now if you were going to give this as a gift or something, then of course you'd want to take that label off, but this is going to last maybe a week at my house, so I'm not going to put all that effort. I'm just going to have the label face the back of my kitchen and then enjoy the new design on the front. Now, I didn't add any more rubbing alcohol to this. I just wiped the surface with what was already on there. But what I have here, which is super cute, and I'm going to go ahead and reuse that transfer tape from my last project, is this is white on white, excuse me, so it's hard to see, but I cut out some little leaves and acorns to place around my candle, which I thought would be so cute. And when the candle is flickering and I have all these cute little designs on there, it's so pretty next to the contrast of the pretty candle. Okay, so this is a smart vinyl again. I had a bunch in my craft room, so I was trying to use it all up. So I'm just gonna go around and lay this down. And then I'll keep these pieces of transfer tape so that I can reuse them for the rest of my little pieces. This is a really delicate SVG, so I actually really like the smart vinyl for projects like this where it's really delicate because it is a little bit thicker, so it is a little bit easier to weed. I feel like the design stays where it should while weeding. Okay, there we go. This one is, oops, one little part came up. This part is the acorn. So I'm just going to try to be pretty random with these, kind of tilt them a little bit. Again, saving my transfer tape to reuse. I'll just keep going and putting it on the next little design. Okay, burnish the front and back. Turn it over, and the other side. And I did 3 designs and then repeated them. So you'll see these 3 little icons here, and then I just duplicated it to have them one more time, which is just fine because you'll never see every part of the candle at one time. All right, so yes, 3 should work. It might even be a tad much, so we'll see. Let's do that maple leaf again. Trim this off. This would be really nice to put in. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna have enough room for that last one, so that is just fine. This would be a really nice thing to put in a little fall basket or a gift for a coworker. I think these are about $5 and it doesn't take much vinyl. And then again, you would want to remove this, but for me and my personal use of this particular craft, I'm going to let it stay on and just put it in the back. But I love how that looks. It makes for a really affordable gift too, and it looks all personalized. Isn't that pretty? I love that. It looks definitely more high-end than just a plain candle. And it's another example of a wordless design. So I know that we don't want to have words on each and everything that we make. So here's a fun example of something that is a little bit more neutral. I think that's so pretty. It's going to look so nice when it's all lit up. All right, real quick, let's do a heat press project because I have my heat press on and it is mighty warm in here. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I don't wear a ton of apparel that specifically calls out fall season, but I do like to make some fun new pieces to wear. So here is me making a fun little sweatshirt to wear this fall because it's gonna be sweater weather hopefully within the week or so. So again, this is not going to be something that says fall or pumpkin spice all over it, but instead something that I can have in my closet as the season turns. So I have had this design in my little favorites for a while now, and I've been waiting for the perfect piece of apparel to put it on. This is really cute. It simply says Mama, but I love the font. This is a pre-made design, so I don't have font information particularly for this, but I was just so attracted to the look of this that I definitely wanted to make it for myself when the time and piece of apparel was right. So how cute is that? I love it. I'm going to take this over to my heat press. I did run this through the washer and dryer. I like to do that for my clothing before I apply the vinyl, just to make sure that any shrinkage that is going to happen happens before I apply this. So I'll take this to my heat press. I'm going to pre-press it to make sure there's no moisture in the shirt and just straighten it out, although it is pretty darn straight. This is a really pretty kind of heather green. I got this from Walmart. I love it. And then I'll press on my design. it is laid down super well. I'm going to turn this over on my cold glass mat and really draw out that heat really quickly so I can remove that liner once it has completely cooled. Okay, and that is good to go. I'm going to monitor all of my edges, but that looks like it laid down really well. All right. And we have a nice piece of apparel. Again, it doesn't scream fall, but it is going to be something I wear over and over this fall. I love that. Okay, so I have a couple more projects left, and I want to show you something that I always think through when I have a couple projects to do back to back. What I do is I always start with my bigger project. Now, this applies to if I have a project of the same type. So this is both adhesive vinyl. So when I have two projects that are using the same material, I go with the biggest project first so that I can cut down my transfer tape to that bigger size. That way, when I go to do my next project, I can trim it down further and reuse the tape. So if I were to start here, I'd have a smaller piece and then I wouldn't be able to go ahead and reuse it. So I always start bigger. That way I can keep trimming down, trimming down, trimming down. In fact, I probably should have started here, did this, and then done my coffee mug and my candle, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead. So just a little something that I'm always thinking through when I am crafting to keep those supplies and crafting costs down. Okay, Market Square, which is Hobby Lobby. This was in their kitchen section. I can't remember if it was on sale or not. I've bought this a few times. I really love the look of it for my kitchen. And again, not something that is going to scream fall, but it's going to offer another piece of just different decor for the season. I just like to change it up, but I don't necessarily want everything saying pumpkin spice and fall and autumn leaves. I just like some new, fresh pieces of decor, which can just be so fun and refreshing just to change it up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna weed this out. This says Home Sweet Home. Nice and generic. I can keep it up all year long if I'd like, which I really do like. If I find a piece that is super pretty and definitely my style, it's hard to say goodbye to it once the season ends and I have to put it away with the seasonal decor. So keeping the design very neutral so that I can enjoy it all year round is a way I can use this all year round. And sorry, this is white on white once more, but I'll grab all of the remaining little middle pieces, take those right on out, and then we can place this down on this cutting board. Again, propped up on the edge or on the back wall of my kitchen. Will look so pretty. Okay, not applying any rubbing alcohol, but I will take this paper towel that I used earlier and just kind of make sure there's nothing on there. Okay, then again, I have my bigger piece of transfer tape to start out with. I can go ahead, remove the backer there. Another thing about this transfer tape that I love is that you do have a liner like this, so you can further take this and put it right back on the liner to save it for later use if you're not crafting back to back to back. Okay, put that on there. I'm gonna grab my little scraper tool, just pressing down on the front and back so that it will release the design really nicely. Okay, this side too, taking my time. This just in, I have a bum rotator cuff. I have rotator cuff tendonitis. It is a motherhood injury from carrying my son. I went on a field trip with my daughter and her kindergarten class, and I took my son along because he was 2.5 at the time. And it was a day, we've all had those days when the little ones just don't want to walk and they want to be carried the whole time. And oh my goodness, I definitely felt it after the field trip day. My arm was just, so sore. So whenever I actually am pressing down with my scraper tool, I can feel the injury. But oh my goodness, I'm now in physical therapy. I can't even believe this. I can't believe I'm saying I'm in physical therapy from simply carrying my chunky monkey, I guess, but here I am. I tell ya, oh my goodness. So, I'm trying to be careful with my arm lately because it has been going on for over a year now, and trying just to get it all strengthened back up. All right, now you notice how that was peeling up, so I just need to go slow, monitor any areas, and then you can either kind of nudge them down with your finger, or you can use your scraper. Just keep it handy. You can use your scraper to help press those little pieces right back down. Okay, whoop, that one didn't want to go down. But don't panic if this happens. I remember when I first started and I was like, oh, this isn't working at all. Once you get it down and let it sit, it's going to set up just fine on your project. So do not panic. Certain materials also that you're placing it down on cause the vinyl to kind of have some trouble sticking initially. So sometimes you'll find that that happens as well. Sometimes certain woods for me or plastics can be really tricky. Okay, this little guy's gonna be careful not to scratch, but I'm having a little piece of my transfer tape kind of want to stay behind. Come here, you're gonna go. All right, there we go. All right, home sweet home. And again, just let that set up. It's going to be just fine. And it's a very nice neutral piece of decor that you can swap in for fall season. Will look really pretty, but also you can keep it up all year round. So nice. All right, I'm going to quickly bring in this piece now. Set this to the side. It's all sticky on my hand. Now, if you are someone who likes to buy your designs from design bundles, they have a feature where you can add favorites, and you can just click the little heart by the design and add little favorites so that you can keep track of things that you love. So it's really helpful because it will allow you to kind of keep track of things all year round. So say I fall in love with something today that I think will be so cute for Easter. I can save it so that when Easter rolls around, I can go to my favorites and look at all of the fun things that I liked throughout the year. Okay, I really quickly need to grab this little guy that did not come down. There we go. So I say all that to say, I think this design in particular has been on my favorites for 3 or 4 falls now. It's been a while. So as I was figuring out the final crafts that I wanted to make for this fall season, I told myself, don't you dare let another fall season go by without doing this design. You've loved it forever. And nothing has changed. So this says hello fall, but then it has some fun little seasonal words around. So we have bonfires, pumpkins, leaves, sweaters, and apples, which is so fun. Then we have a nice little leafy element that I just think is so cute to complete the circle. Okay, super easy to get this all weeded out. And there we go. Okay, now I can use my transfer tape again and cut it down to size, which I definitely want to do for this because I'm going to have these raised edges of the frame that will make it really hard to have a bigger piece of transfer tape on. So I'm going to actually trim that down pretty close to my design. That way it's easy for me to position this within the frame and get it all centered, just like that. And while I have been trying to keep it easy on my arm, I've also, every time I go back to my physical therapist, I'm like, oh, it's bothering me this week. And she's like, well, what did you do? And I'm like, painted my bedroom. She's like, well, that would probably make it hurt. This week I'm going to be like, I crafted with my scraper and it was, it's making it flare up again. Oh, well, whoever said crafting was easy, right? Okay, pumpkins, bonfires, I love this. Finally using this. Again, I just used that piece of paper towel. Didn't add anything on it, but just made sure to clean off the inside of this frame. This frame is from notjustframes.com. I love their stuff. Hopefully that is centered. I think it looks good. I love their stuff. They make the best frames and they look so nice and professional. They're easy to lay vinyl on, which I really love. Okay, making sure that's all pressed down really well. And Here we go again. That's all right though. And sometimes you can even grab your scraper, kind of be pressing down as you're peeling away to kind of just reinforce that pressure. This one's a little hard because of the size of the design to do the scraper all at once, but get it down. And I haven't done this in quite a while, but if you're worried about your transfer tape falling back onto your design and pulling up your vinyl, what you can do is halfway through, you can trim it all the way off. That way you can just keep going without worrying about it falling back on your design. Sometimes that can be super helpful just to get rid of some of the material so that you can focus on finishing up your project. All right, last little bit. All right, there it is. Oh, I love that. Finally, this is not on my computer anymore, and it is finally going to be a piece of decor in my house. I love that. Don't wait too long on your favorites. Just make them already, right? Okay, everyone, this took in real time 45 minutes to do 6 fun little crafts. We did a piece of apparel that I can enjoy in this nice sweater weather that we are tiptoeing into. This ended up being my favorite thing that I crafted this fall. I really love that. In fact, I might just even super glue that, but again, that's not going anywhere. I think you might be fine just with that double foam adhesive, but I love that. It's so cute. I'm very surprised with how much I love it. We have a sweater weather mug, loving the cork element. Cannot wait to light this candle. So fun, and it looks much more high-end than just a blank candle. Finally went ahead and made this beautiful frame from a favorite design that I've been wanting to do, and then another little cutting board design for my kitchen. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this. Be sure to let me know what your favorite was. I think next week we're gonna do some unfinished crafts and then tiptoe into Halloween, but you never know. I might just start Halloween next week. It's just how I'm feeling. All right, everyone, I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.